Hey everybody, it's Taylor with Boydston Grove, and today I'm super excited because today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects,
coffee.
Because today we're going to be making a wooden coffee cup. Let's get into it.
Coffee solves everything.
This video is sponsored by Casabrews. If you've watched my videos for any length of time, then you know how I like my coffee. So when Casabrews reached out and asked if I'd like to work on a project with them, I was like, the sky blue? Duh. So today we're gonna make a coffee cup to try out on one of their all-in-one espresso machines, but we're gonna make it completely out of wood. I started with this container that I had made a while back. This was intended for another project, but it wasn't coming out how I intended it to, so I kind of abandoned it, but let me give you a quick overview of how I put it together. I grabbed some scraps of hickory maple and I think some cherry and cut them into strips and cut each side of each strip to an angle of 22.5 degrees. That's the angle you need when you're making an octagon shape. I wanted the ends of my container to have a taper, so I set my table saw blade to 5 degrees and I used my table saw jig to cut an angle on each end of each piece. Once the pieces were all cut and sanded, I glued them up initially using painter's tape to hold them all together, and then I added some strap clamps to make sure that the joints were all nice and tight. And that's where I gave up on this project, but I think it'll work out perfectly for making this coffee cup. I started by cutting off both ends of the container. Initially, I planned on making 2 cups, but as you'll see, I decided to concentrate on just one for now. I cut some small, thin pieces of maple to use as the bottom of the cups, and after tracing them out, I cut them out on the scroll saw and gave them a quick test fit. I started shaping the cup by refining the outside on the bench sander, but somewhere along the line I lost the footage. But once I had it most of the way there, I used a flap sanding bit on my drill press to start working on the inside of the cup. It didn't take long before I had the inside nice and smooth, so I moved back over to the bench sander to continue working on the outside. I went about as thin as I dared to go and then glued the bottom in place using some sawdust and glue to make a paste to make sure that I had all the gaps filled on the outside as well as the inside. While our cup is drying, let me take a minute to tell you about today's sponsor and the inspiration behind this project, Casabrews. The model that you see here is their 5700 Gen C all-in-one espresso machine. Casabrews offers a wide range of both coffee and espresso machines and coffee making accessories. It features 20 bars of pressure, a built-in grinder, a steam wand, a very large water reservoir, and a warming surface for your cups. In addition, it comes with plenty of accessories such as a very nice weighted tamper, a milk pitcher, a tray to protect your counters when you're tamping, multiple size baskets for different serving sizes, and all the tools needed to keep your machine clean and running properly. The machine itself is sturdy and well built, and it looks pretty cool too. Let me give you an example of why it's a good idea to spend just a little bit extra on a nice quality machine like this. My wife and I have had quite a few coffee machines with built-in grinders, and a lot of times when you get the lower end coffee machines with built-in grinders, the teeth on the grinders are going to be made out of a hard plastic. The problem with that is that the teeth wear down, giving you inconsistent grinding, and eventually it'll just stop working. As you can see, Casabrews actually uses metal teeth, which is not only going to give you a more consistent grind over time, but it's going to last a lot longer. The grinder actually easily pops off of the machine, so you can easily clean it and maintain it, and if need be, you can actually replace it. In fact, Casabrews actually offers the replacement grinder on their website. My wife and I have been having a blast with the Casabrews 5700 Gen C, and it makes excellent coffee. If you would like to check out more details on this machine or any of the other machines and accessories that Casabrews has to offer, make sure to hit the link below. Now back to that coffee cup. Once that was dry, I used my bench grinder rotary tool combo kit from SaneSmart to clean up the inside of the cup. When I felt I had the cup in a good place, I grabbed a scrap of maple to start working on a handle. I traced out something I thought would look good and cut the rough shape out on the scroll saw. I used the bench grinder to remove most of the bigger rough areas and thin the handle out, and then moved to the rotary tool to refine the shape. Once I had the handle fitted as well as I could, I used some high-temp JB Weld 2-part epoxy to glue it in place. While waiting for the handle to dry, I glued up some thin pieces of maple and cut out a disc. Once the handle was dry, I glued the disc on the bottom of the cup as that bottom trim piece all coffee cups have. I don't know what you call it. With the final piece dry, I spent some time cleaning and hand sanding the cup and then applied Odie's oil as the finish. I decided to go with Odie's oil because it is a hardening wax, and I thought that would work well to help seal the wood from liquids while still being food safe. All right, now that our coffee cup is complete, the only thing left to do is test it out. All right, our wooden coffee cup is finished, and I gotta tell you, I love how this came out. Honestly, I had pretty low expectations in the beginning. I pretty much was aiming for no leaks, but this completely exceeded my expectations. I absolutely love this thing, but I wanna hear what you think. Let me know in the comments below how you think this project came out. Now, one of the big things to keep in mind when you're making something that will involve food, like this cup, or maybe a cutting board, maybe some utensils, or even kids' toys that they may put in their mouths, is that you're not only using food-safe woods, but you're also using food-safe finishes. You also need to make sure that you're allowing that finish to completely cure, not just dry, but cure. For instance, the Odie's oil that I used on this, technically it dries in I think 72 hours, but the total cure time is actually 30 days. A big shout out and thank you to Casabrews for sponsoring this video. If you want to check out more details on the machine that we used here, or any of their other coffee machines, or the coffee accessories that they have available, just hit the link below. I hope you all enjoyed today's project. If so, make sure to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching. Be safe and have a great day.